Hi, this video is a run through on your basic bar chord concepts. I had a request from a guy called Storm Tompkins on how to play the E flat bar chord. So instead of just making a video on how to play the E flat, I'm just going to run through your basic concept for bar chords. See, what you're doing with bar chords is you're basically moving around your A shapes and your E shapes. So I'm going to quickly start with your 6-string bar chords, which is basically moving around your E shapes. Okay, so if we before we get onto the barring, let's look at those E shapes. So if you notice, for the purpose of bar chords, instead of playing these shapes the traditional way, I'm leaving my index finger free, because we're going to use that for barring later on. Okay, so if you do your E shape with these 3 fingers, you have your middle finger on the 1st fret of your G string, your ring finger on the 2nd fret of your A string, and your pinky on the 2nd fret of your D string. So there we've got E. Okay, so if we take off that middle finger, we've now got E minor. Okay, so E, E minor. Okay, if I put that finger back on, take off the little finger, I've now got E7. E, E dominant 7. If I take them both off, but still leaving the ring finger there, you've now got E minor 7. Okay, so if you take that E chord, slide it up 1 fret, bar the 1st fret, you've now got F. I slide it all up 1 more, you've got F sharp, and then you've got G. Okay, and that's basically how your 6-string bar chords work, by moving around that E shape, lifting the middle finger off to make it minor, taking the pinky off to make it a 7th, and taking them both off to make it a minor 7th. And you bar whichever note, whichever fret where the 6th string is that note. Sorry, I didn't say that very well. You bar whichever fret where the E string is the note that you want. So here we have an A on the 5th fret of your E string. So if we want an A, we bar the A and then make the E shape. Okay, with major 7th, it's a bit more tricky. So I'm just going to stick with the A shape, with the A chord, to show you how to turn it into a major 7th. So if we bar the 5th fret, place your middle finger on your G string of the 6th fret, your ring finger of the D string 6th fret, and your pinky on the 7th fret of the A string, and that's your major 7 shape. So of course, I can't do this very well. You can slide it down to a G, to an F. Yeah, as you can tell, I can't do that very well, but that's how you could do that shape. But there is another way of doing it, which I'll just quickly run through now. And going back to A, if you find this way easier, you can do it this way, or you can do it the way I just showed, where, and there's probably other ways of doing it as well, but these are the two ways that I know. Pointer on the A, well, 5th fret E string, your middle finger on the B string, 5th fret, and then your ring finger, 6th fret of your D, and then your pinky, 6th fret of your G. And this A note here, the A string's muted, and this E string is muted. I mean, if you can get the E string to sound, and you know, it's fine because it's in the chord, but it's probably going to be muted with the underneath of this finger. So that's another way of doing the major 7th shape. See, with bar chords, this is where it becomes important to know the notes on the guitar neck, even if it's just the top 2 strings, your A and your E. Even if you don't know the rest, but I would recommend learning the rest. I'm currently trying to learn them. I'm getting there. But yes, it's very important to know the top 2 for your bar chords. So let's get down to your bar chords, 5-string bar chords. So here we're now moving, the principle's the same kind of, but we're moving around your A shape instead, your A chord. So some people play the A chords like this, with the pointer finger free. Some people play it like this with the ring finger free. Some people play it like this and mute the E string, leave the A string open, and bar your D, G and B strings, and probably mute the E string. Doesn't matter how you play your A chords, you can do it either of those ways, but generally for bar chords you're gonna bar with your pointer finger, no, with your ring finger. So there we've got A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, which was the chord which Storm wanted to know. So it's basically a 5th string bar chord, A-shaped bar chord on your 6th fret. Okay, what I'm not doing there, which you kind of are supposed to, is slightly turning this finger to get a more accurate bar. You can mute this string with the underneath, by this string I mean your E string, mute it with the underneath of your finger if you want. I think that's probably the technical way you should play it, but it doesn't matter if you bar it, because that note is in the chord. But generally we want the tonic to be the lower note, the lowest sounding in pitch, which is why you should technically mute it, but it doesn't matter if you bar all of them. Not really. So let's look at your A shapes. Okay, so we've got your A, barring with this finger. Your A minor, we have my middle finger is on the 1st fret of the B string, my ring finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string, and my little finger is on the 2nd fret of your G string. Okay, and to make it, okay, so that's what we've done to make it a minor, and to make it a minor 7th, we're lifting off that pinky. Okay, and to make it a 7th, we're fretting the 2nd fret of your G string and the 2nd fret of your D string with your B string open. Okay, that's a 7th. And to make it a major 7th, we're placing down that middle finger on the 1st fret of your G string. Okay, so if we slide that up 1, we've now got A sharp major 7. Okay, so it's basically sliding around your A's and E shapes. You know, this is the basics of bar chords, and that's basically what you're doing for these shapes. And that's pretty much it. You know, it's important to get the right technique, which is slightly tilting this finger, so you're not sort of fretting down with this bit, you're trying to fret with this bit as much as you can, but whilst keeping these fingers upright, you know, the way they should be, fretting with the tips and not the pads. So that's your most important thing about technique. Of course, you've got to fiddle around a bit to get your own sort of technique right, and the other important thing is to know the notes on your E and A string, but preferably all over the board, but you can start out by those two and then you can work on your bar chords and you will know them across the neck with your A, F, A, C, D minor, A minor. You know, if you know those, if you know where all your notes lie on your first 2 frets, and you know the chord shapes, you can play most progressions. You know, so it's quite key to get those down. So yeah, I hope that helps, and thank you for Storm Tompkins for asking how to do the E flat. So that's basically your A-shaped 5th string bar chord on your 6th fret. Alright, thank guys, I hope that helped, and I'll see you soon.